Hi folks, 2012 Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Brent Chapman here. We're at ICAST 2013, and ICAST is always an exciting time for me. We come out here, we get to see the latest, greatest things in the industry, and I want to share something with you today that's truly amazing. As you can see, we're at the Gamma booth. Gamma has been an integral part to my success. It definitely helped me win Angler of the Year. And they've got a technology out that just still floors me, and it's really cool, especially for me, and I'm anxious to learn it. And I'm going to learn it with you guys here, but I've started using the Gamma Torque braid. I love braid, but there's times where I want to use a fluorocarbon leader, and there's all kinds of crazy knots you can use and do, and that works great. But I want to show you this new thing. I'm going to turn it over to Dale here. I'm going to let him introduce us to this new technique.
Well, what we're doing is something that's been around for a while in the saltwater industry, and it's a process called top shotting or wind-on leaders. And what we're actually doing is we're threading our leader material up through the center of the braid, which can only be done with a hollow core. And we have a needle that we have that's hollow that we insert our leader material, whether it be fluorocarbon or nylon, it doesn't matter. And then we just gently start it. And getting the needle to start can be somewhat
of a challenge.
A challenge at first, but once you get used to what you're looking at and doing, it really does flow pretty quickly.
I guarantee you it's not any harder than learning some of the knots to splice lines and tie knots and all that. So if you can tie knots, you can definitely do this for sure.
And so what we're doing here is we actually have, for what we're doing is we're running 20-pound leader material up into the 80-pound braid. So we get the braid started, and we just gently thread the needle up through the center. And we're going to put about, on this one, we want to run about 4 feet up inside. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll pull 4 foot off, mark it with a black pen or a Sharpie, so I know that I've got enough up there, because there's nothing worse than pulling a needle out and realizing you didn't run enough up in there.
But now, kind of explain what we're doing here. We're doing this instead of a knot.
Yeah, what we're doing is it works in the same concept as the Chinese finger trap. The friction of the braid being pulled tight against the line allows it just to hold itself without a knot. The weakest link to any connection is the knot. So we've eliminated that knot where it normally breaks between the leader and your braid.
And you know, I think the interesting part of this, when I first saw this, I remember I was very, very skeptical when I saw this. I mean, no knot, how does it possibly stay there? But when you explained it with the Chinese finger cuffs, it really made a lot of sense. But I mean, you guys, they catch tuna on this stuff, don't they? I mean, so for what we do bass fishing wise, this is definitely overkill. But if you can catch tuna on it, it's obviously, you know, a pretty fail-safe way of doing things.
Yeah, it's just it's gaining confidence in something new, whether it be a knot or a knotless. The confidence is that fishermen need it to use it.
Oh, absolutely.
So you just got to try it, make it work, and like I said, I adjust the length of my leader. Once you get it so far, you pull it out of the braid, you take your leader out, and I always just push it back down in a little bit so I can trim off that end. Once it goes in, I grip it and I pull it tight, because that's what you want to do. Now you can see it's starting to spread all the way down the line. That right there, and it should hold that extremely tight. The last thing you want to do is put a little tiny nail knot right here. And what that's going to accomplish is to release this, or for it to come out, you push up on the line. That will relieve the friction that's there, and you can just pull it out like there's nothing there.
Wow.
So the nail knot keeps anything like a weed or even some water. I tried it without one, and water alone can sometimes push that slack in that, and of course then you're going to have your leader come out.
Wow.
But now you have a knotless connection, so you can actually, if you have the small micro guides on your rod, you can wind that up, cast it, not have to worry about that knot beating the heck out of your guides.
That's truly amazing. Yeah, you don't have that knot in there creating that friction, and you know, sometimes the weakest point of your leader and your braid.
Yeah, and we can always dial you in too. We have the needles, and you know, you say you want this size braid. We only have it in the 60 and 80 pound right now, but we get 12-pound edge up in the center of 60 pound, and it'll hold.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I know when I was at Falcon Lake this year, you know, I was flipping with the 60 and 80 pound braid, and believe it or not, I was using a 40 pound. I remember I was using the 40 pound fluorocarbon as a leader. So if I'd have known about this nail knot then, I wouldn't have had that knot there to have to contend with. The knot worked good, but it was an area that I had to be concerned about, is making sure I tied it right, but also, it gets in the guides and creates some issues. So having this setup here would have been just incredible for sure.
And I used the heavy braid and a 12-pound leader material for all my soft jerk baits, because I want the braid, but I want that soft jerk bait to be able to slow the retrieve down.
Oh,
and
absolutely,
sink,
yep.
It works very well in those type of applications.
Yeah, there's so many applications for that, and like I said, when you told me this technique they catch tuna on, I mean, it's a strong technique for sure.
And it's like everything else. You have to try it to get the faith in it,
yep.
and comfort level, because even when I was out there, if I was doing a competition, I would have had a hard time just jumping right in. I had to go out and practice.
Oh yeah,
play
yep,
with it.
Absolutely. So.
And when you have as much on the line as what you guys have out there, you got to make sure it's going to work exactly the way it says it's going to, or you could lose the fish of a lifetime. But this here reduces that chance of breaking that knot. So. Cool.
Well, good deal. So, folks, that is, with the Gamma Torque braid and the Edge fluorocarbon, there's just another new, great, exciting system to put a few more fish on the boat.